Testing. Good morning, everyone. Oh, Newton's in the background. Let's show Newton. Good morning, everyone. On this Tuesday, August 8th. How are you today? It's so nice to see you here. Look who I have in the background. He really wants to play ball with me, and so he's a little annoyed. I'm not throwing the ball right now. Yeah. So, but he's here. Good morning, Robert. How are you this morning? Nice to see you. Christina, good morning. We missed you yesterday. Nice to see you here. And Paxil and Fuad and Mark, so nice of you to join. So I think I have a kind of a different morning for you guys. As I was putting this together, we usually do science on Tuesday, and it's kind of got me a little bit weary right now. It's kind of a difficult curatorial concept for a continuing show because there's not that so much of science and such, and so I'm kind of limited. So I thought I wanted to expand it a little this morning. Good morning, Jean. Good morning, Jeffrey. What I wanted to look at by way of thinking about science is an artist that I have worked with. And so I want to show you kind of the installation process, but also the thought process. And when I think about science, I think about inquiry. And I think that this artist really, in many ways, when I was thinking about science yesterday and how we're going to put this show together, I was thinking, good morning, Eunice, how are you? I was thinking about scientific methods. And one thing that came up was glass and the history of glass and how glass has been a part of art history before glass was even glass, going way back to, I think, 5,000 BC or 2000 BC. And I started to put that show together. And then I thought I just didn't want it to be a history lesson or an art history lesson. So I wanted to give you something a little bit more exciting. And I hope I did. So anyway, let's see who we have. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. It is, as you know, Smart Start. Let's start the day energized, ready to attack the day by attacking our minds first and our visual thinking and pulling it all together in that way. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the way a particular artist sees the world or started to see the world. This is not a piece of art. This is just a piece of debris. Okay. Good morning, Fabian. So the artist, her name is Hu Bing, and we work closely together. But when I first met her, she had an exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum. And I walked into the Brooklyn Museum for her opening. I had been invited to the opening, and it is the ground floor of the Brooklyn Museum, and the entire ground floor had been transformed by her art. And it was absolutely exhilarating. And good morning, Laurie. But this artist, Hu Bing, let me tell you a little bit about her. She comes out of China, emigrates here in 1986, and leaving China after the Cultural Revolution, in which her parents were really affected. And since her parents were affected, she was incredibly affected. Her parents had spent a lot of time in re-education camps, work camps, and they were brutal places. And Bing was kind of shifted around, lost a lot of her education early on, wasn't in school, very difficult, very, very difficult time, but was studying art. So she comes to New York, and she first lands in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which right now, I'm sure if you hear about Brooklyn and Williamsburg, you're hearing about this hot hipster place where everybody wants to go, and the rents are high and the apartments are barely affordable to buy. That's now. This photo was then the Williamsburg of Hu Bing, that Hu Bing arrives in. Good morning, Laurie. Good morning, Maggie. How are you? Good morning, Christopher. The Brooklyn of Hu Bing in 1986 is a place where there are burnt out cars, smashed windshields, and blighted neighborhoods. And although she comes from China, the countryside, and post or during the Cultural Revolution, what strikes her is that even in the poverty and in this kind of blighted culture, this lack of culture that was being created in China at the time, she was struck by, good morning, Jacob, how are you? She was struck by how these cars were destroyed, that people had kind of destroyed their own property or other people's property. But she didn't want to judge it. She did not judge, and that's such a remarkable notion, and it changes her work. So if you know anything about China and artists, it's all about, for the artists in China working, it's about them repeating what was done before, constant copying of the masters, but not finding their own voice. So she comes here, good morning, Michael. So she comes to New York and she sees these burnt out cars, and it changes her. Especially, it's not the burnt out cars that change her, it's the windshields on the car. She doesn't judge it, and I keep underscoring this and repeating it. She sees it as her she sees it as drawings. She sees the windshield as a drawing. She's looking at line as an artist. And this notion that she is able to do that and able then to think about it in terms of her own art then transforms it. And she hasn't worked in bottles. She hasn't necessarily studied glass because she was in China. You're studying painting. You're painting from the old masters, the old Chinese masters. A little bit you start to paint from the Western masters, but not much at all. And so she takes this notion of bottles and she starts breaking them under intense heat, but they're her drawings. They become drawings. And when you think about drawing, and I should have put a picture up here of line drawings, but you guys all know drawings. She is breaking the glass at the moment that she wants it. She's allowing chance to come in. But we're talking about a method of intense heat and breakage, and it becomes a method that is really, as she says, dangerous and very, very physical. And she loves this. Hu Bing comes alive with the breaking and the heat and the danger of the process. And she really transforms these bottles into beautiful pieces of art. I mean, incredibly, really amazing pieces. And when I see her, when I see the work, I see it first at the Brooklyn Museum in this installation. And please, everybody, write in. And just because I know this artist, it doesn't mean you can't give your opinion honestly, because not every, you know what I mean. No political correctness here. Say what you want. So I walk into the Brooklyn Museum and I am overwhelmed. This is just a little piece of it, so you'll see why I'm overwhelmed in a bit. So she's expanded her vocabulary, and she's still breaking glass, but she's doing it in different ways. She's putting them on hangers. She's got tables. She's using now leaves and objects, and it's all about the glass breaking and forming something even more beautiful or something new. It doesn't have to be beautiful. This hallway at the Brooklyn Museum becomes this incredibly, I wish I had a wider view of it for you, but it's just this incredible wall of these images. And she calls this pregnant and aborted. And now she's still using the glass, as you can see behind the materials, but it's rounded, and she's looking at them as vessels and thinking about women, but not in juxtaposition, but in conjunction with the bottles, what we contain, what is contained, what is empty, what is filled. Let's see what Christina says. Pieces of everyday life, yes, an unexpected medium, found objects. That's exactly right. In fact, Christina saw all of her objects. I am telling you, she is a garbage picker. we pick garbage. Honestly, there's a picture I did not put in, and I want to show you. I'll explain it later, but it's all found objects. And so this piece, Pregnant and Aborted, becomes the piece. It just captures my imagination in a way. First of all, Bing is at the museum the opening night, and she has her son in one of those little snugglies, and he was born, I think he was a few months old, and I'm expecting William. So I'm pregnant with William, and Bing has this little baby, and we're first meeting, and then there's this wall of pregnant and aborted, and what is empty, and the notion being what is empty and what is filled. Women as containers, bottles as containers, life as containers. And it all started from Bing arriving in Brooklyn at this moment in history. Emigrating to Brooklyn, not speaking, being able to speak English well at all, a few words. And it all changes for her, and her art transforms in a way that is just stunning. The Neuberger, other curators see the work. Vessels, who said vessels? Maggie, yes. Let me just read this. Vessels are always alluring. I could not agree more. Good morning, Zach. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Alan. So nice to have you all here. So then we move on to the Neuberger Museum, and we're still dealing with vessels. Now we're dealing with wine bottles, broken wine bottles. But look what she's done. Does anybody know what this material is that she's hung the bottles in? Can anybody guess what the material is? Just take a guess. Now remember, she started with the bottles as drawings and the breaking of the bottles. Then she kind of goes into a more women-centered notion of the vessels, but also the material that you saw. What do you think these bottles are hanging with? And again, they're on hangers. Anybody? Give it a try. Come on. No one? Stockings. Stockings. These are hung by stockings. So you have these stockings that are knotted and hung with the bottles in them, and they're hanging down. She took the image of the car's window screen from the inside, so it acts like a frame to the world. Most people would take a picture. Right, but Christina, just so that you understand, that's not her work. That's just an image I showed. That's a good position. But I'm going to show you another one. That's not her work. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of where she got it from. Richard Kranzler is joining us, and I'm so glad because you're going to see his pictures of Hu Bing's installation in a moment. So Richard, I'm glad you're here this morning, so please weigh in. So these are stockings. These are stockings. No, it's not your bad, Christina. It's not your bad at all. That was a really good notion. It's not your bad at all. This is a conversation. So these stockings are hanging from these. She makes the hangers out of this steel, and she hangs them, and then the bottles are at the bottom on the floor with these small tables that she creates, and it's just magnificent. I saw it at the Neuberger Museum. The more I saw it, the more amazing. Everything I saw that she did, I just wanted to be a part of this. This was at the Brooklyn Museum. She hung it against the wall. And I thought, if I ever have the opportunity to work with this artist, sell her work, represent her, I will. And then I did get the opportunity, which when I opened my own salon in my own space. But I really got the opportunity when I began curating the Flatiron. And I approached Hu Bing and I said, Hu Bing, I really believe that your work in the Flatiron is going to change everything. I think it's going to be the watershed moment of when we look at art, and everybody who looks at art and who gets to see this exhibit will start understanding art on a different level. Good morning, Gilbert. Good morning, Maureen. And this is a photo. Richard, this is one of your photos, correct? And we put this into the flat iron, and I called it shattered debris shear transformation, because it is all debris. It is all, she brought it in garbage bags on the corner. We were on the street corner getting out of cars, and it's all garbage bags. And I said, and it's near, and as we were unloading the car, it was near where the garbage is put out every day. And I couldn't tell the difference between the garbage from the flat iron or Bing's work. And that's how it came into the flat iron. And this is what was created. And this is one of the greatest pictures that have been taken of the flat iron. This is Richard Kranzler's photograph of Hu Bing's table. Look at this table. Look at this. All of this broken glass. It is broken. It has been then reassembled to create this. So what has been broken has been fixed in many ways. And this is one of the most stunning pieces. And the way the light affected, it was just a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon. And I want to show you. Here's a Richard piece. Then we hung other pieces from there. Oh, let me see what Christina says. She's super raw. Yes, Christina. We are trained as an audience to see glass art in such a delicate, precious way. Stained glass, blown glass, not blown up glass, like anti-Chihuly. Oh my God, Christina, that's brilliant. Yeah, blown up glass. That is, I got to use that term. I'm going to quote you on that. Because when I was starting to do this show for today, and I was talking before, I don't know if you were on the feed, I was going to do the history of glass with relationship to science. And then I looked at Chihuly, and honestly, I couldn't do the Chihuly. I just couldn't do it. And then I thought, oh my God, Hu Bing's work has changed my life. Let's show Hu Bing. And so I spent a lot of time with her at the flat iron, and I have to tell you, the process is very dangerous. You're constantly getting cut. There's still glass at the flat iron 6 years later from Hu Bing, because she was in the space, and she added pieces to it every week and just kept adding broken glass, and we allowed people to come in and look at it. And it was very, very exciting, a very exciting space. So I love these pieces. These pieces are just gorgeous. I want to show you something as well. I want to show you, well, let me finish here. This is a photo of us working together. I'm very hands-on in the installation process. I actually install with the artist. And when we installed that table, it was just Hu Bing and myself together. We had no one helping us. And that table was so massive and so heavy. And what she did was she had it balancing on these anchors that she got off of, these antique anchors that were off of boats, ships, I should say. And to balance that table on this anchor, right? It was on the bottom, it's just this anchor, just balancing on the three pieces was really, and just the two of us with this glass, it was really, I don't even know why we did it that way, but we did. We did, and because I spent a lot of time in the installation process, and it's a way of figuring out what we're saying, what we're showing, what I want to say, what I want to show, and that becomes very important to me. I'm sorry, let me go back here. It's almost like we're in this, we're in this very private space as we're putting it together, just working very closely together. Look at this from Richard Kranzler. Look at this photograph. Do you see the stockings now? Stockings with bottles, broken glass, and it's sheer beauty that she has taken this and she created such an environment that just really stops you in your tracks. Let me show you this. Okay. This was the centerpiece of it all. This is the chaise lounge. Again, she had found it. And she then, this piece over it is all glass, netting and glass. Netting, broken glass. Everything is broken glass. So she starts from this notion of the bottles, the small breaking, and then she creates an entire environment of breaking, and which is it is. There's a violence to it. It's all of this breaking, and then it becomes this transformation of something so stunning, something so beautiful that, it's transformative for everybody. So I want to show you this. Let me go back, and then let me go back to my shop. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Here we go. We're going to go back to me for a second. I want to show you a few things. Okay, here we are. First of all, I'm thrilled because I have the bottle. I have the bottle here. And so these are the bottles. And what she does is she breaks them in half. Okay. And at the perfect time in the fire, she's able to slip this piece in. This is the broken part. So she's slicing this, and then this round circle in the middle, she puts it inside, but this is what's completely broken. And she breaks them to a point that it's her drawing. Then I want to show you this. You see this behind me? I changed my picture today. This is, let me see if I can get this. This behind me. What she did was, when you have installation, for example, when the pieces that came out of the Brooklyn Museum, the pregnant and aborted, they don't exist anymore. As she took them off the wall, they were all destroyed. Installation mostly gets destroyed. This is a piece left from the Brooklyn Museum. This is what she considers a drawing of this work. Okay? Then in the background over here, above Newton, that's one of the glass pieces hanging. And it's hard to see against my wall, but it goes all the way up. And I just love it. And those are the pieces that we give to clients, not give to clients, sell to clients. Those are the pieces that go into collections. And also we have pieces from here that I put together for clients, and we can individually or sell them by group. So when I went back to the Flatiron, when we left the Flatiron in last March, because Sprint decided they wanted to go into a different direction. They no longer wanted to do art. And I'm not sure if you guys know the story, but I'm going to tell it to you quickly. So they decide after 5 years, they want to take it back and use it as a space to advertise their phones. But the Flatiron is owned by a private business, a private company. There was a groundswell. Unbeknownst to me, at this time, I realized we've done our last show. It's time to go, pack up our things and go. And it's been a great run, and I'll find something else. And now my husband and I were working on, we're basically just looking, and my husband's son and I were kind of on the college tour. So they take back the Flatiron, and all they do is put in poster boards of ads. And there's a groundswell of complaining from not only the local community, but people, tourists everywhere who had come to, all these shows had gone viral. So people had come to New York hoping to see a piece of art in the Flatiron, and it's not there. Such a groundswell that people start to write to the owners of the Flatiron. And the owners of the Flatiron are so upset that there's no art there anymore. And so they force Sprint to bring back the art. And they basically say to them, without the art, you cannot have the space, because their store is adjacent. And in the meantime, Cheddar has struck a deal with the Flatiron with Sprint to use the space for their broadcast. And this is last August. So March, April, May, I'm doing my own thing, whatever my own thing is. Building collections, working on figuring out where our son's going to college, continuing with my work with my artists, and I've got a lot going on. I get a call first week of August, you have to come back to the Flatiron, because without it, neither Cheddar nor Sprint is going to stay at the Flatiron. I have no idea what Cheddar is. I thought they called it Chatter. But anyway, we put in a show. And now we're back, but we have a third of the space. Our space is a third of what we used to have, which is totally fine. I'm fine with being a backdrop for Cheddar. I like the company. I love the company. I think they're doing something amazing. And so I decide for Christmas to bring Hu Bing back, because good morning, Andrew. How are you? You'll have to watch Andrew's show too up in Chatham, Maine. Chatham, Massachusetts. I'm sorry. So I decide I want to bring some of the artists back. And I want to bring Who Bing back because Sprint wants a holiday show. But Sprint's notion of a holiday show is to rival the windows of Lord & Taylor and Macy's, which is a little different than my notion of a holiday show. So, good morning, Tom Estes. What are we doing here today? Building collections, seeing where your kid is going to school. Being a superstar. I don't think so, but thank you, Tom. And so I want to bring Who Bing back now because I want to know what it's like for an artist who's already worked in the space. The space has already informed her work, how the work has changed and grown. And I say to Who Bing, we just have a framework now from Sprint, and that is holiday. And this becomes our notion of holiday. Brown paper packages tied up with string. She's still working with bottles, but now they're plastic bottles. And I'm telling you, all of this was picked out of New York City garbage. And they're plastic bottles, and they're crushed, and she covers them with brown paper, ties them with string, and then lights them. And it creates this ember, like a fireplace. And it is such a gorgeous, gorgeous, glowing piece. And I get a lot of feedback from it. And some of the feedback I get from the people who are now running the Flatiron, who are different than before, when I know you all met Patrick on here, but Patrick's no longer doing it. Someone else is doing it. And he says to me, well, some people loved it and some people hated it. And some people said, oh, it looks like brown paper packages with brown paper with bottles with lights. And I said, oh, good. So they got it. And the curatorial notion behind this for me was the holiday season is one of craziness and consumerism. And what if you're not in that position? Or what if you want a holiday season that's a little different from that? For us, it's about the solstice. For us, it's just about welcoming winter and kind of everything that winter encompasses, this kind of hunkering down, the changing of the weather, the changing of the time of day, all of that. And so what if that is your reality and it's not Christmas trees and lights and glitter and such? Can you still have something that is so glowing and so beautiful, and it didn't have to be store-bought? And so that was kind of our holiday show. So I wanted to really give you a look for today at a contemporary artist and the way they think, because there's nothing more fascinating than the way artists think. So we go from this notion of arriving in New York, seeing broken windshields, looking at that without judgment, looking at it and seeing it as art, to transforming bottles. That becomes her medium, to bottles in stockings, broken glass, hanging, vessels pregnant and aborted, to this beautiful, beautiful work, and seeing how it all transforms for a contemporary artist. So let's see what you say. Wow, yeah. Looks very cool in that space, doesn't it? I love the Flatiron space. You know, I'll do more of these and show you some of the exhibits that I've done in the past 6 years at the Flatiron space and how it all comes together. And I'm always amazed. It's really just a gift. It's a labor of love, an intense labor of love, because there's the artist, there's the space, and there's the curator, myself, and all three of us, and the artwork. The artwork becomes almost a separate entity, and everybody leaves their egos at the door. There is no ego here. It's if everything is in service to the art and the space tells you. I know that sounds esoteric and weird, but the space, I allow it. I don't even plan for what it's going to look like beforehand. We get in that space, and for days, it's just creating within the space, and it's just this magical place. And I wish I could work with all artists in that space. I really do, because it becomes something so amazing, and it changes us, and it does. It's great. So that's our Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed it. Please continue to write to me. This was reviewed a lot. I can post some reviews. John Haber reviewed it. Everybody reviewed it. And we could talk more about it. And I hope you enjoyed the show. For Tuesday, I'll be back with Women Crush Wednesday, although Hu Bing could crush Wednesday also. And have a wonderful day, midsummer. Hope your summer's going well. And I think for today, I think about looking at what's broken. You know, I always go back to Hu Bing. What has been broken? And as to fix it, or fix it, or change it. I mean, metaphorically in our lives too. Do we really want to smooth over those cracks? Or do we just want them to be and to continue on in that way? And so I hope that makes sense. Oh, did John Haber just arrive? John, we're just talking about Hu Bing, and I was looking for your review of hers. And hi, Ron. Hi, Maggie. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is a gorgeous space. Tom, so John, before we go, yeah, okay, I'm going to continue on. And whoever has to go, obviously, you can go. There's a crack where the light gets in. I agree with that. Oh, you did hear the whole thing, John. Can you send your review again so I could post it? I was looking for the review for what you did for Hu Bing's show, and I would love to post it here for everyone to read, because it's really just an amazing review, and John really understands, I think really gets Hu Bing's work tremendously, as he gets everybody's work. He's great. So, oh wow, John, look at that. You did it. Thank you. John posted the review for everybody. Brenda, hi. Yeah, John, do you want to add anything? So we're just talking about, again, I'm going to go through it one more time quickly. Hu Bing arrives in Brooklyn, 1986, Williamsburg. There's a lot of shattered windshields and debris, and now it's been all gentrified. And with the gentrification, which I don't care. I don't want to talk about gentrification. Creates a body of work. John, did you see this? I know you didn't see Pregnant in this show at the Brooklyn Museum. It was, maybe you did, 1997. Oh no, you said, I know I said a lot, but I don't care. I want to hear what you have to say. Is a Japanese art, of repairing ceramics with gold. Yes, I know that, Tom. What a great observation. I'm glad you said that. That's really interesting. You know, this notion of repairing and fixing. And for Bing, the notion is taking the glass and breaking it. And that's the drawing. That she saw the line as drawing, I still think is one of the most brilliant things. And that's why I always, every day, just want to jump into an artist's world. I want to see what you see, what they see. I want to be in their studios and feel what they see and see what they see. It's just an amazing place to be. So I don't want to keep you guys too long. So thank you all so much for joining. Please read John Haber's review on Hu Bing's show. And I hope that, I know Bing and I will work together again. We're always working together. And I will see you guys for Women Crush Wednesday. I hope you have a great day today. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you all so very, very, very much. I really love being here. And John, I chose Hu Bing today also. I just want you to know, because of your suggestions too. I listen to everyone's suggestions. I listen to everyone's opinions. And I really, really take it to heart. I really do. Especially those that I deem experts, like John Haber. Thanks, guys. Have a great, great day.